stay here. Come on, get the camera. Look. Oh, wait, leave it. Leave it. Okay. So it's finally cold out, so we are going to do Luca's winter cut. Right, buddy? Let's go get our supplies. Come on. All right. So, are you ready, buddy? You're snoozing. Okay, he's asleep. So we're gonna use our Oster metal guards. We usually do 2-inch for his summer cut because we like to keep him long. I have 1.5 around in case I need it for some spots that I might want shorter. But we're gonna start by just doing his whole body and then go from there. But first we have to do a lot of brushing. All the way up here. Yippee! Good boy. Gentle, gentle. Stay. So I am using my 30 blade. It's focusing on my face. 30 blade. There we go. All right, so we aren't getting very much hair with the 2-inch guard. So I'm gonna go ahead and go a little bit shorter and do the 1.5 inch. So for around the face, I cut in a triangle shape right around the eyes, with the point of the triangle, or the top of the triangle, being right between their eyes. I go up in a diagonal right underneath his eyes, and then you'll see in a minute I'm going to switch sides to the other side, and I'll cut in that same diagonal but downwards to get all of the hair out of there. You want to be really careful to make sure you have their, snout pretty firm so they're not moving around, because you don't want to poke them in the eye with the shears. And between the eyes, I go ahead and I cut out all the hair to make sure that there's nothing blocking his vision. And then before this, I go through with the clippers and I do about 1 inch to 1.5 inch guard on them, and I just kind of go downward and make sure to get all the extra hair on the snout off. Afterwards, I go through with the shears and I kind of round out the top of his head to make sure everything looks even. So for the mouth area, I cut right along the lip line just to make sure it looks nice and smooth and clean. Sometimes you'll have to pull some of the hair out of their mouth because Luca likes to hide the hair in his mouth, so I don't cut it. For the chin, I go through with about a 1/2 inch guard on my clippers, and I just clean up the bottom of their chin as short as I can, because oftentimes it leads to dripping water if you keep it too long. For the ears, I just cut along the ear line and trim it pretty short just so it looks nice and clean. I'll eventually have to post a video where I show you what I do inside of his ears, because that takes quite a bit of time. I usually use the 10 blade and I just kind of clean out the inside of his ears with the 10 blade. And then after that, I use special tweezers to go in and pull the hair out of his actual ear canal to avoid it getting infected or kind of smelling bad over time. Now at this point of the video, both my 10 blade and my 30 blade had been completely dull, so I had to do just the shears for all of his legs. Sometimes before I use the shears, I'll go through with like a 1.5 inch guard or 2 inch guard on the clippers to kind of trim the feet a little bit. Here I'm just using the shears completely. My technique is not great, but some tips that I've learned is you don't want to bounce the shears because that can make the edges look a little bit rough. Trying to kind of look at it at different angles, brushing it up and down, helps to figure out where you need to smooth out the edges. Prior to doing his legs, I went through with the 10 blade and cleaned out between his paw pads. This helps to get all the hair out of there to avoid any knots in the future. I also pull the hair between his toes, like on the top side of his feet, and also trim the hair out of there because that can knot really quickly if you have hair between the toes. After I finish up with the clippers on the tail, I'll use the shears to kind of even out the edges. I typically avoid using the clippers at the top of the tail because I worry I'm gonna cut his tail because the bone gets really small towards the top. But using the shears helps to really even out the edges and make sure everything looks nice all the way down. So this is the part that Luca hates the most. I usually just use the 10 blade to clean out the area between his legs. And then I'll usually put a 1/4 inch guard on there and kind of also trim the area on his upper inner thighs because that will also knot pretty quickly. Are you embarrassed that we cut your booty? Are you embarrassed that we cut your booty? But we should be when you're pies. You're beautiful.